Well, it's official. We live in a world where, despite three advance warnings that something was going to be bad, despite three provable entries of being bad, one of them only being able to be categorized as really fun and watchable. Three cases where a movie was fairly bad and only had some good things about it. At least the third one embraced the suck, which made it fun and enjoyable to a point until you just know it could be better. But three examples of really just not caring and being any good, and what happens? We get a fourth! We get a fourth shot fired, and what do? We run out there, rip our shirts open, expose our chest to it, and just take it right through the heart. Give it everything because, well, hey, why not, right? So, for the record, I'm talking about the Transformers films, and I'm talking about the fourth one, and how the fourth has grossed over $1 billion already. Alright? We have put this movie up there in terms of returns with Star Wars movies. We have put it up there with The Dark Knight. We have put it up there with The Avengers. We have put it up there with Titanic and Avatar, and really those aren't the best examples, I know, but we put it way up there in terms of public reception, which to future generations is going to ring its quality. We considered it to be one of the best movies ever made because it broke that magical $1 billion barrier. And you know why? Because this isn't just a Transformers rant, mind you. This is gonna go somewhere. Okay. I'm sorry. I gotta get this out before I forget. I do that a lot with my videos. I know. My apologies to you guys. But why do we do this stuff? We said no. You know, we had said no once. We weren't gonna go give this thing money again, were we? I mean, no, we knew that this was bad. We knew the third one was stupid. We knew the second one was just god-awful. We knew this. We knew the first one was only watchable and that it was a curiosity and there was really nothing to, you know, but it still wasn't even the best case of Transformers. You know, certainly not even close to the best example of Transformers or a Transformers movie, but we gave it a shot. Did well. Second one came out, we figured, okay, maybe this one will at least still be watchable like the last one. Nope. Nope. Million times worse. Third one, also bad, but you know what? It was stupid, but it didn't try to take itself too seriously until the very end, and even then most people give that a pass because it was badass. But it was still bad. And now what do we got? We got freaking Optimus Prime screaming like a maniac, riding the back of a mechanical T-Rex. And we saw that. And we threw $1 billion at it. And what's the excuse? What's the rationale? Why do people justify it? Well, we're going to touch on that because they do it with a lot of movies these days, and it's a problem. Okay? Now let's get to the number one most annoying, most aggravating problem. Alright? Now, see, trailers are deceptive, alright? But the fact that they're deceptive has given birth to this new idea that has really only taken off in the last 4 years or so. 3, really. That you can't say A movie's bad until you see it. You can't trust your eyes. You can't trust what you see. You can't trust what you hear. You can't even trust what you read about a movie before you go in. You gotta see. And if you judge a movie before you pay money to go see it, then your opinion is automatically invalid and you're just an irrational hater. Now, honestly, that started popping its ugly head up back in 2008, 2009. I saw it sort of gain some momentum around 2011. But the last 2 years, I have heard nothing but that. Even when you read things that you know are stupid, things that are going to tick you off about the movie, things that really they should not have done in that movie, things that really don't even make sense and show no respect for, especially in the case of an adaptation, your source material, let alone your audience in some cases, you're not allowed to say anything about it. Ever. Until you set your butt in the theater seat and watch the movie. There's a problem with that. Studios don't make these movies to be art. Studios don't make these movies to be critiqued. Studios don't care if you like them or not. You know what they care about? Your money. The money. The anywhere from $7 to $20 that you fork out to go see that. Genius. You know, the money that you already gave them. You gave them what they want. They don't care if you sat your butt in that seat and enjoyed it. It's always a perk, but they don't care. They also don't care if you even actually saw the movie beyond that point. Because they got your money. That's all they care about. People need to stop thinking that any studio ever makes a movie for artistic purposes. A studio is not an art house. A film studio is not an art house. It is a business. The only people who you can realistically expect to care about any property that's being made are the people working on it. When you say that, oh, the studio clearly doesn't care, or, oh, you know, I'm sure that when the studio hears bad feedback, you know, they'll change. No, they won't. Ever. Because they don't care. They don't care about what's being made. They care about the profit margin. It's why they invest in these films. It's why they put them out there for people to see. It's like the difference between a video game publisher and a video game developer. EA doesn't necessarily care about these games. They care about money. Yeah, they've dealt with backlash and they've tried to respond to that, but that's only because their games are starting to make less money because people are indeed not buying what they say they won't buy. Activision hasn't shown two craps about it because they still sell like crazy. Because even though everyone knows the next Call of Duty is going to be a rehash of the last Call of Duty, they sure as heck run out there and buy it. Why? Oh, all my friends are going to buy it. So, you know, got to play with them. Right? Same thing with these movies. Oh, all my friends are going to go see it, so I got it too, you know. I mean, what am I going to talk about them with? They're all going to talk about it. I don't want to feel left out of the loop. Yeah. they don't care. Alright, the people who cared about the game enough to put the time into making it were the developers. The people who cared enough about the movie to put the time into making it was the crew. Beyond that, you're really not going to find people who care about more than the bottom line. Which is true with anything. Which, ironically, tends to be foisted on one franchise. Which is also especially hilarious when you consider the fact that even though Spider-Man 3 was, in fact, the highest-grossing Spider-Man movie of all time, they actually did break from the mold, listen to the fans who were very, very, very unhappy with the way things were going, and reboot. And now they only care about money, apparently. Which is funny, because then those same people who say that they're only doing it because they care about money will turn around and point to the original Spider-Man films, including Spider-Man 3, and talk about how much more money that made. If they only cared about the money, wouldn't they stick with what's made? I digress. The point is, every studio is only ever out to make money, okay? Whether it's Marvel, you really think Marvel gonna keep churning out Iron Man movies if Iron Man were to suddenly stop making them money? No, they would find a way to, frankly, kill off Tony Stark from the MCU. He would no longer be a factor. Why? He's not making them money. Because, in the end, they are a studio, and they care about money. Now, am I going to say that they do have a little more care about artistic vision than usual? Only because Kevin Feige's a big fanboy. But yeah, for the most part, they do. Though they have compromised that in the past. For the sake of a director who didn't care really about the characters, just having this on their resume. Or doing things their way, even if it didn't jive with everything else. And then they have to, surprise, surprise, damage control. But, yeah. That is a very, very common thing. Another thing I hear is, well, yeah, I already touched on it. You know, all my friends are going, they're going to see it, I want to see it too. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it knowing that you wasted your time on that movie, you're not going to get it back, but you could talk to them about it? Is that worth it? I'm being serious here. Honest. Jive with me. Is that worth it? Just to have something to talk about for a few minutes while they're going to be talking about the movie. If you want to know about the movie and what happened, then fine, listen to them. Maybe they'll change your mind about it, but don't pay money for something that you don't necessarily want to see just because people you know are paying money to see it. Okay? Okay. Oh, God. Now we move on to another one, which is... oh boy. There have been other versions of the same thing, so when they make changes, you can't be mad about it. And I have heard that so often. Truly, I have. So many times have people tried to throw that at me. And throw that at anything anymore. And this is something that, really, we didn't go for back in the day. You know? If there was a movie that was really, really unlike what it was supposed to be based on, we did not pay money to go see it. Why? Because we want to see a movie about what we love, and the fact that you're making this not at all like what we love. You know, and you used to be able to tell that. I mean, trailers don't always give you the full picture, but they give you a fairly good idea, even visually, what's going to happen. Story cues, what it looks like is going to go down. And yeah, sure, they might try to tease you with maybe we'll kill him, maybe we won't. And you know what? Maybe you know that, oh, in the source material, this person didn't die, so if they kill them, I'm going to be so mad, I'm not going to say. No, we're not talking about like that. Though I would be very. I'd understand if you did get upset about that after the fact. I would. I really would. But, you know, teasers can, you know, lead you one way or another. But when you can see right off the bat that they have a character acting in a way that that character never would. When you can see right off the bat that the basic storyline is showing something that really is not the source material, we used to know enough to steer clear. Or at the very least be very wary, do some research as things come out, and then find out. And make a decision. We did that with Dragon Ball Evolution, for example. That looked way off base. Way off base. And we didn't touch it. We watched it. You know, watched it progress as it was coming here. We watched the trailers. We listened to the interviews. And we made a decision, and that decision turned out to be this is going to be bad. We're not going to go see it. And we didn't. And it was. And it bombed. We didn't go see it just because other people might have been interested in it. And we didn't try to downplay trailers as being something you can't trust. On that note, we did encounter this back then. They were a very small minority. Very small. Very, very, very tiny. You know? Little teeny, weeny, small group. And, they used to say this, and we used to laugh at them for saying something so ridiculous. If you were a real fan of this, you'd support it. Because if you don't support it, you could derail this franchise and we'll never get anything good again. Who cares if this one's bad? All that means is that they'll know people want to see it, and maybe they'll reboot it again in a few years, and that one will be good. But you can't call yourself a fan and not support this. And we laughed. Long and loud, with youthful abandon, we laughed. And sure enough, guess what didn't happen? Franchise was not derailed. Movie still bombed. Franchise thrived. Lived on. Got a new anime incarnation. Got the game still going. Even now has a new movie in theaters and another one coming next year. Yeah. We totally sank the franchise because we didn't support one bad facet of it. They'll never make another Dragon Ball movie again. If it's like that, no loss. Better no movie than a bad one. Better no film representation of your franchise, of what you're a fan of, than something that's going to give people the completely wrong idea of what it is. And there you have it. See, herein lies the problem. You can use the adaptation excuse all you want. You could say that even other iterations of the property have been used in such a way that they've been different from what it started as, and that's true in a lot of cases. However, when you put something up on that screen that is so far and away removed from what people are actually going to see if they go and check out the other aspects of the franchise. And yeah, I'm going to get specific here. I'm talking about not only Transformers, I'm talking about, well, a lot of stuff. I'm especially talking about that Ninja Turtles movie. What's going to happen? Oh, this is for a new generation of fans. Okay. And if they like it, they'll go check out the source material. Okay. But there's a problem with that. You're giving them giant, bulletproof turtles strong enough to throw a car that are fighting a ring of terrorists with guns and armored cars and missile launchers and they're not going to find that anywhere but that movie. And yeah, you might get some who get lucky, who you get lucky with, who take a look at the series version and say, hey, this is really cool, and stick with it. Know what else you're going to get? Other people, a lot of other people who are going to be quite upset that this isn't what they saw, because what they liked would have been what they saw. What interested them would have been what they saw. And when they see that there's an entire comic about this, when they see that there have been multiple TV shows about this, and then learn that not a single one is like what they saw up on that screen, you think they're going to throw away what they saw on the screen that enthralled them enough to check it out in favor of what's been there? No. They're going to throw that out, decide that it's not good by comparison, stick with the movies. Then, what's going to happen? Well, the movie franchise is going to be a source of revenue for them. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to keep it going. And going. And going. In order to keep people interested in the movie iteration. So what's that mean? That means that not only are you going to, for better or worse, fail at attracting new people because of, your deviation, but you're going to more or less lose your shot to represent your source material in a way that would allow people to take it seriously. And I'm so sick of hearing that too. Oh, you can't expect anyone to take that franchise seriously. Oh, you can't expect that to take off and be, oh, this is probably honestly the best kind of stuff you can expect out of it. Bull crap. I got better than that. I got the original comic. It was better than that. I got the IDW comic, the current run. Much better than that. I got the 2003 TV series, which was a pretty good adaptation. Better than that. I got the original 1990 film, where they cared about that movie so much that they actually took the time to craft out working animatronic suits that could convey a full range of emotion to try to bring that to life. Also a very good adaptation of the original comic book. See, that's another thing I hear. So many people try to say that was nothing like the comics. I can point you directly to a link that is going to show you how much it was exactly like the comics. In pretty much every way that's remotely essential. Ain't that cool? And you know what? I even have a live-action television series that was considered horribly bad. I have a movie sequel that's debated as being bad or not. I have a movie sequel that's almost universally declared to be bad. I have a 1980s cartoon series which turned the Turtles from being serious into being goofballs. But you know what? Those still displayed a better grasp on what these characters are on a fundamental level than that movie does. And they don't have to turn them into giant, hulking, bulletproof, borderline rapist in one case, monsters. They didn't have to do that to make them relevant, to make them entertaining. What that is, it's a lazy cop-out to follow a template that they're familiar with and to, frankly, poorly try to compete with the superhero flicks out there. They think that if they're not super-powered, people aren't going to want to see them. If they're not bulletproof, people ain't going to want to see them. If they're not big, people ain't going to want to see them. That is a movie that was focus grouped to hell and back in terms of what they think people want to see, with everything else slapped on there as an afterthought. You could have turned that into a Street Sharks movie. You could have turned that into a Biker Mice from Mars movie. Nothing about that beyond window dressing was really unique to this series. In fact, it more accurately is a Street Sharks movie. I mean, these things are busting up concrete, flipping cars. I mean, that Street Sharks were something where you'd literally see them plowing right through the concrete in a street. Now I'm terrified because I think I just gave someone ideas. But people will accept it. Why? Oh, could have been worse. They could have been aliens. I'd take the aliens over this because then I can believe that it's at least a spoof or an homage. Or some kind of... God. But I'm seeing this with almost everything anymore. Just people so willing to completely forsake everything that made this story or this series great enough to be adapted by a major Hollywood studio in the first place. That made it so loved for decades in the first place. Just throw that away. Throw in all this new stuff. Claim it's for a new generation. And people just swallow it. And what are they defending it with? Oh, this wasn't that great anyway. Oh, it's a ridiculous premise. You can't expect much out of it. 4 turtles and a rat covered in mutagen mutate, learn to speak. Rat teaches them ninjutsu, which he learned from watching and memorizing the movements of his master. Tells them to go kill the man that killed their master. Ridiculous premise? Hell yeah. I won't deny that. Know what else is a ridiculous premise? I'll tell you. Ridiculous premise is a man who is an alien sent from another planet that happens to be solar powered uniquely by our kind of sun. And yet, despite being able to fly at supersonic speeds, despite being able to lift and throw mountains, despite having heat vision, the ability to breathe freezing cold air, all of this just because the sun shines on him, is terrified of a green rock. That's a ridiculous premise, but you know what? People take it seriously. Know what else is a ridiculous premise? A little boy watching his parents get gunned down before him, and rather than turning into a traumatized vegetable for the rest of his life, resolves that he is going to go to college, get degrees in record time on every convenient form of investigative and forensic science known to man, chemistry, all of that. Then go out and get trained and master every form of hand-to-hand combat within a few years. And then go out there dressed as a bat with bat-themed everything and fight an enemy that is, in fact, an insane clown. Or a circus freak that happens to heavily resemble a crocodilian. Or a short little man with webbed hands and a long nose that happens to call himself the Penguin. Or a man obsessed with riddles to the point where he will structure entire city-destroying events around being able to solve one. That's a ridiculous premise, too. People take it uber seriously. Know what else is a ridiculous premise? A kid getting bitten by a radioactive spider on a school trip or on a demonstration, whichever version you prefer, and gaining the ability to stick to walls, sense danger, move faster than the bullet from a gun, lift and smash a tank with his bare hands, and also develop this nifty little shooter that can shoot out this sticky fluid that lasts for long enough to be obscenely strong for an hour before it finally crumbles to dust instantly. That is a ridiculous premise. Puts on spandex, goes out there and fights crime after his uncle's death. Fights against a guy obsessed with masks who takes on a goblin persona. Fights a guy who is in a giant rhino suit, who is in a giant scorpion suit. Fights a guy with mechanical arms. A friend who turned himself into a mutant lizard. Pretty ridiculous concept, but you know what? People can set aside disbelief and take it seriously. Daredevil is a blind man. Gets this gunk in his eyes, goes blind, and yet somehow can see better than he ever could with eyes. 360 degrees around him, complete map, and can even see in 3D things below him that normally we wouldn't be able to. Which is why he can move seamlessly through the air, almost unparalleled. People can take that seriously. Transforming robots from outer space. People expect better out of that than they do the Ninja Turtles for some reason. those things can be taken seriously and be given good adaptations to the point where they are critically acclaimed and loved. If Batman can be if one of the Batman movies can be considered one of the greatest movies of all time, let alone superhero movies, despite how frankly ridiculous that premise is. Why can't this be expected to get any better than some goofy, schlocky, sloppy, ridiculous, and frankly disrespectful movie? I don't get it. Especially when you look at the good stuff. When you look at the original comic, which was actually really pretty good. When you look at the current IDW run, which is amazing, and I would actually put it up against anything Marvel or DC puts out right now. Anything. Not kidding. It is incredible. It has made all these characters so unique. It has given us some new ones and given us the old ones and made them so incredible, so much more than people thought they could be. Given them distinct personalities beyond something goofy or stupid. But I guess it just can't be taken seriously. But I'll tell you this, our standards have dropped so low. I guarantee you, the Dragon Ball Evolution did come out today. If even The Last Airbender had come out today, whichever one you want to think is worse, I don't care. If those came out today, guarantee you at least 30 million opening weekend domestic. Maybe more. Because after all, you can't judge until you pay to see it. And then it's got your money anyway. Because after all, you can't expect everything to be the same, right? Even if you're not expecting it to be the same and just expecting some key things to be there, you can't expect that. That's wrong of you. How dare you question the artist's vision? But hey, at least you got something to talk to your friends about, right? Our standards are dead, more or less. Just gone. I'll see you guys later.